And there's the music, the familiar music. If you are familiar with Bobby Likis Car Clinic here on Paltalk.com, I am Bobby Likis, and I invite you to hang around, stick around for this hour that I and my dedicated team have dedicated our hour to Paltalk here every Thursday from noon to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm a car guy, much more so than that. I am a proponent of renewable energy. I love the fact that we're making ethanol. I love the fact that there's controversy going on. I think we should really, each of us should be careful to not latch on to little sound bites. I was just interviewed by a new station in South Bend, Indiana, WSBT 960 AM, and it was all about how do you get better MPG out of an SUV or out of any automobile for that matter without having to trade and trade down, trade your big car for a smaller car. And so it was important that this little, not a 5-minute interview, because you really can't learn much in 5 minutes. What I have found in the statement that I made to Bill Collins, our producer, was that after this some 12 or 14-minute interview with the station, which took me that long to really get the enough information out, is that what you hear in sound, what's called sound bites, on television, on radio, on the web, anywhere, and on a billboard as you're driving down the road, that soundbite highlights. If it's a media, unfortunately, a lot of the media want to highlight the negative. And I've got a study that I want to read just and share with you, just one paragraph, because it too talks about a controversial issue, and that is the use of corn for making ethanol. And so I'll just share with you, it's a marketing research study that was done by Kelley Blue Book. Understand, these are not my words, and these are not, I do not follow these thoughts at all, but I want to share them so that you'll see what some of the media can do and what media can do when you have some of the information, and you'll see and hear what I call sound bites. And 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 30 seconds is not enough time to learn and gain any knowledge other than enough knowledge to be dangerous. And I'll do a little quick overview here. The marketing research study said that 61% of new vehicle shoppers believe that increased biofuel demand has tightened supplies of farmland and water worldwide, thereby pushing food prices up. In addition, the May 2008 study results reveal that 58% of new car shoppers do not think that national and state governments should subsidize farmers who produce crops aiding in the production of biofuels, such as the production of corn for E85. That's ethanol-based E85. And 46% of shoppers believe that biofuel production should be reduced to case high prices of crops that have diminished due to the government subsidization of corn and for ethanol production, such as flour, wheat, and grains. Furthermore, only 8% of shoppers say that biofuel will most likely become a mainstream fuel source. Well, that was not the intent for ethanol anyway. The intent for ethanol was as a replacement for MTBE, which is methyl tertiary butyl ether, which was created by the oil companies in the mid-70s, when the government, the EPA, says you must create some oxygenant and add some oxygenant to build and formulate fuel that burns more cleanly in those cities where we cannot reach clean air. So the oil companies, rather than buy ethanol, created MTBE. Many years later, some fast forward 25 years later, and about 5 years ago, sure enough, California finds that MTBE pollutes groundwater. So what are the oil companies to do? They can be found liable. And only until the government changed the wording in the law, the EPA, and said, okay, you can still use MTBE, but you're going to be liable. So they said, well, wait a minute, we'll go outside and buy ethanol and use it instead of MTBE, and we'll lose the profit on the 10% of the ethanol. So that is why, and just for you to know, 60% of all the gasoline in the U.S. today has somewhere between 5.5% to 9% ethanol. as an oxygenant. Now, are we going to use E85 100% or 85% ethanol as fuel? Yeah, we're going to try, and that's going to put a burden on the ethanol from corn, but there are other ways to make ethanol, and that's cellulosic, and that's trees and switchgrass and those things. The bottom line, the technology that we're building today to get us to the next level of renewable, sustainable energy other than fossil fuels is surely to come. But today it's a little bit of a, not a little bit, it's a lot of impact on each of us with regard to the $4 and some 30 cents a gallon for gasoline. There's some areas of the company in Indiana that it's $4.20 and some change, and you're looking at soon $5 a gallon. So when you fill your tank and your tank holds 30 gallons, you're looking at $150 to fill your gas tank. And you say, now, wait a minute, what can I do? I'll park this big car. Well, you can't stop living, nor should you. So what do? So now I'm going to share with you some things that if you've got one of those gas guzzlers, here's some things that you can do that will increase the MPG. Number one, it starts with the driver, the driving techniques. And here's a good example. And this is specifically aimed at people who drive standard transmission vehicles, or the ones that have the great little paddle shifters, which you can shift the automatic on the fly at the steering wheel, or by the gear shift just by clicking forward or sideways. And so a lot of the newer cars have this technology. It's called, and the technique for you to add MPG to the car that you drive is to skip shift. You know, like you skip along, skip shift. What does that mean? First, not to second gear, but first, skip second, go to third. Skip fourth, go to fifth. First, third, fifth. I can take a car, you can take your automobile that has a standard transmission or an automatic that you can shift manually by using the paddle shifters, and go from first to third to fifth, and you can expect a 15%. I can get a 25%. I've done it. So you can expect a 15% increase in fuel economy, and we're talking in city driving because that's where you use the most fuel to travel the least amount of miles. Now, that's one note. Well, you say, well, what if I have an automatic transmission, Bobby? I don't have a standard or a paddle shifter. Then what you'll do is you'll accelerate the vehicle to keep up with traffic, which you have to do or get run over. I mean, you know, you can expect